Hi, good day. I welcome you back to God's Will Cyber Talk and Life Hack channel, aka Uncle God's TV. Today we are looking at SOC metrics and objectives. Remember, if you're still watching, kindly like, subscribe, and share to other cyber learners. Moving into the introduction today, we will be looking at the metrics that is associated with our alert triaging and reporting, and also the objective. We move properly into the introduction. As with other departments, the efficiency of SOC team can be measured using different indicators and metrics. This room explores the most common evaluation approach with MTTD and MTTR and describes the methods to improve the metrics and potential consequences of ignoring them. Our learning objective today is to, number one, discover the concept of SLA, MTTD, MTTA, and MTTR. Number two, understand the importance of false positive in alert triaging, and also learn why and how to improve metrics as an L1 analyst. The last, practice with managing SOC team performance metrics. Without much further ado, let's answer the first question. We move to task 2, core metrics. In this task, we are going to be looking at the metrics, the formulas, and the measure. This lets us to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the organization's digital asset. The SOC team performs its purpose by developing, receiving, and triaging alerts. The L1 analyst role in this process is to reliably report true positives to the higher level, that is L2. This leads us to our first 4 metrics, which are alert count, false positive, alert escalation rate, and threat detection. Alert count, this is the total count of alerts received. It measures the overall load of the SOC analyst. The false positive rate is the false positives divided by total alert. What does it measure? Level of noise in the alert. The third one is alert escalation rate. It is the escalated alert divided by the total alert. What does it measure? Experience of L1 analyst. The last but not least, threat detection rate. It is the detected rate divided by the total rate. What does it measure? Reliability of the SOC team. Now, let us see how all of this interrelate. First and foremost, we get a total load of alerts. We look at the false positive. How many are noise? We look at escalation rate. The escalation rate, how many of these true positive and false positive were escalated? This shows the experience of the L1 analyst. Then the last one, which is the threat detection rate, is the threats that are actually detected, aka true positive. It now shows the reliability of the SOC team. Now that we have explained all of this, let us look at the definitions below. Alert count, it is the total of the alerts received by the SOC team. So in some instances or in some offices, you can get 30 alerts per day, depending on how big or how small the organization is. So if you get 30 alerts and 5 of those 30 were true positive, and those true positive was captured, it is a good metrics. Now let us look at the false positive. If 75 out of 80 alerts, which represent 94% of all the alerts, were confirmed to be false positive, like system noise or IT team activities, that is a bad signal for your team. Why is it a bad signal? It is a bad signal because we have lots of noise, which makes it difficult for the L1 analyst to actually pick out or fish out or spot the true positive. A false positive rate of 0 is an unachievable ideal, but 80% or higher is a serious problem. So it is a problem if you have 0, and it is also a problem if you have above 80. So what is the acceptable rate of false positive? It should not be 0, and it should not be more than 80. Even at that 80, it is still a problem because 80%, it is still high. So let's move forward. Now let us look at escalation rates. The L2 rely on the L1 to filter out the noise and escalate only the actionable, threatening alert. At the same time as L1, you don't want to be overconfident and triage alerts you do not fully understand. Without a senior support, the alert escalation rate comes in handy to evaluate how experienced the L1 analysts are and how often they decide to escalate the alert. It is usually aimed at below 50, meaning as an L1 analyst, your escalation rate should be below 50. And that below 50 should be with accuracy, or even better, 20. Now we move to threat detection rate. Imagine that out of 6 attacks of 2025, your SOC team detected and prevented 4 attacks, missed the 5th because of broken detection rule, and the 6th because of one of the L1 analysts misclassified the breach as false positive. The resulting metrics is 4/6, which is 67%. This is a very bad result. The detection rate should always be at 100%, since every missed threat can have devastating consequences, such as ransomware effect and data exfiltration. Let's answer the first question. Is 0 alert for a month a good sign for your SOC team? No, like we said. So the answer is nay. What is the false positive rate? If 10 out of 50 alerts appears to be real threat, 10 out of 50, meaning you are going to take out the 10 from the 50, which is 40, then you divide that 40 by 50 to get a number, then multiply it by 10 to get the actual percentage of the false rate. How do we do this? I open my calculator, then we say 10 minus 50, that gives us 40. Now we divide the 40 by the 50 again itself, that gives us 0.8. Now when we multiply 0.8 by 100, that gives us 80. We have 80%. From here now, we are done with that. Now we move to task 3, triage metrics. This is a requirement to ensure a quick detection and remediation of the threats that are commonly grouped into Service Level Agreement, SLA. This is a document signed between the internal SOC team and the company management, or by the managed SOC provider, MSSP, and its customers. The agreement usually requires quick threat detection, measured by MTTD, timely alert acknowledgement by L1 analyst, measured by MTTA, and finally, prompt response to the threat, like isolating the device or securing the breached account, measured by MTTR. Now we have a diagram here that shows the acceptable time for an event from when it happened to when it is fully remediated. And they are measured in different ways. MTTD, it measures from when the malicious activity started to when the SOC or the SIM picks up that alert or alerts it or reports it as an alert. Then from there, it also moves from when the SIM reports the alert to when the L1 analyst on the shift picks up the alert to treat the alert. We have a mid-escalation and order workflow. So from the L1 filtering to the full mitigation, it takes about 20 minutes. Let us look at the reference table. For the reference table, we have the metrics, the common SLA, and the description. SOC team availability. SOC team are always available 24/7, meaning 24 hours over a stretch of 7 days. What is the description? Working schedule of the SOC team, often Monday to Fridays, 8/5, meaning 8 hours per day for 5 days, ranging from Monday to Friday, or 24/7, 24 hours per day for 7 days. Now we move to the mean time detection, which is the MTTD. The acceptable time there is 5 minutes. The description is it averages the time between the attack and its detection by the SOC tool. Now we move to mean time to acknowledge, MTTA, 10 minutes. What's the description? It averages the time for the L1 analyst to start the triage of the new alert. The last one, the mean time to respond, 60 minutes, which is 1 hour. It averages the time taken for the entire SOC team to actually remediate and stop the breach from spreading. Now we move to the questions below. If the team works 8/5, on which day of the week will they acknowledge the alert? If you look at it, 8 hours Monday. Question number 2. Imagine a scenario where an employee was lured into running data stealer malware. Number 1 question. The SOC team received the connection to Redline Stealer C2 alert after 12 minutes. The second scenario, one of the L1 analysts on shift moved the alert to in progress in 10 minutes later. Number 3, after 6 minutes, the alert was escalated to L2, who spent 35 minutes cleaning up the malware. Provide the MTTD, MTTA, and the MTTR. Let us look at MTTD. They said it is 5 minutes, meaning from when it started. See when it started from here. We have 12 minutes from here. Then the second one is 10 minutes, which the L1 analyst on shift moved it to in progress, which is 10 minutes. Then the last one now, this is where we need to do some calculation. They said after 6 minutes, we have from here to be 10 minutes, meaning when the malicious act started to when the L1 picked it up is 10 minutes. Now, if we now look at the number 3, it said after 6 minutes, the alert was escalated, meaning it took a whole 10 minutes for the L1 to pick it up, triage it, then 6 minutes before it was properly escalated. That makes it a total of 16. So the L2 spent 35 minutes to clean the malware up. That means 16 plus 35. That gives us 51. Moving to task 4. Improving metrics. Now that we know the different metrics to measure with, how do we improve the metrics? First, you should understand that the metrics were built to make the SOC more efficient and therefore to make the attacks less successful. Second, the metrics are used often to evaluate your performance, and good results lead to career growth and a raise to more senior position like L2. And so we should and must improve our metrics. Let's come down to the reference table. We have the issues and we have the recommendation. When we have false positive rate above 80, what do you recommend? Number 1, exclude trusted activities like system updates from your EDRO and SIM detection. 2, consider automating alert triage for most common alerts using SOAR, which is SAW or custom script. When mean time to detect an alert is over 30 minutes, what do we recommend? Contact the SOC engineer to make the detection rules run faster or with a higher rate. Number 2, check if the SIM logs are collected in real time without a 10-minute delay. Number 3, mean time to acknowledge over 30 minutes. What do we recommend? Number 1, ensure the analysts are notified in real time when the alert appears. Number 2, try to evenly distribute the queue between the analysts on shift. Issue number 4, mean time response over 4 hours. This deals directly with the L2. The SOC team can't stop the breach in time. Try to do what? What do we recommend? Number 1, as L1, make everything possible to quickly escalate the threat to L2. Number 2, ensure your team is documented. Number 2, ensure your team has documented what to do during different attack scenarios. That is why we have playbooks, runbooks, and lookups. Let us answer the question below. What is the highest acceptable false rate? Remember, it is 80%. Question 2. Should all SOC roles work together to keep metrics improving? Yes. Now we move to task 5, practice scenario. In our practice scenario, we open our view site and we see the first scenario to solve. Dear SOC manager, our biggest customer, Open Door International Companies, was dissatisfied with how we handled breaches. When their CFO's email and Entra ID accounts were breached, it took us almost 6 hours to kick out the hacker from the mailbox. And threat actor had enough time to dump all emails and leak them on the darknet. Looking at the report, looks like we had a critical alert and spent 5 hours trying to properly reset the victim's Entra ID, password, and MFA. How could it happen? And what would be your actions? So now we are given a scenario here. So for this scenario, a company is complaining to their cyber department or their MSSP that they had a problem and the alert was actually delayed to be responded to. And because of that, the hacker was able to steal documents and files and was able to dump them on the darknet. So for the scenario 1, we spot the problem. 2, we improve the task. And 3, we assign a person to oversee all of this. The time to respond was too high. for the problem. So what will be the improvement? We create a workbook, remember? And who do we give it to? We give it to the L2. Now we have a flag. We can copy this and paste it here to see our answer. Now we move to the second scenario. Hey, thanks for the SOC demo for our top management. They loved your ransomware simulation and were shocked at how your team managed to stop the attack in 14 minutes. However, for the first 20 minutes, everyone was just looking at the screen, waiting for some alerts to appear. It would be nice to somehow reduce the huge delay. What do you think? Now, this is a scenario where a company is actually appreciating a SOC team for their demo, but there was a delay of about 40 minutes in the first 20 minutes. So what do? We can see that there was a delay for 20 minutes, which is the problem. How do we improve it, and who should we assign the task? Remember, the task should be given to a SOC engineer because the engineer creates the detection rule for the SIM tool to pick up alerts. That is that. Then for the problem, we look at what was the problem. The first problem was the time to detect was 20 minutes delayed. For the improvement, we tune and we assign to the SOC engineer. We copy and we paste. Now we move to scenario 3, the last scenario. Dear SOC manager, on behalf of all L1 analysts, I want to raise an issue that may require your help. On average, during an 8-hour shift, our L1 analysts close 760 alerts, 95% of which is system noise from the IT team or automation script. It is impossible to perform a vigilant triage with such big load. The analysts are starting to get exhausted. However, as the company grows, we receive more and more alerts. Can you help us with it, please? What do? We spot the problem, we look for improvement tasks, and we assign. Remember, when we are dealing with a SIM or an alert tool, we assign to the SOC engineer. Now, what is the problem? We have too many noise. How do we solve this? We find a way to reduce the noise. For the problem, we have false positive rate that is called noise. What do we do next? We schedule a call with the team to implement the remediation for false positive rate. Then, who should we assign? We assign the task to the SOC analyst. From here, we copy and we paste. So at this point, we are done with all our scenarios. Then we come to the conclusion. And in conclusion, remember, if everyone can teach everyone, what a better place the world will be. I remain God's Will from God's Will Cyber Talk and Life Hack channel, aka Uncle God's TV. Thank you for watching and goodbye.